Gentlemen, since returning from hurricane relief in North Carolina, I've had a bit of an eye towards preparations. Prepping is a dirty word these days, however, it's almost undeniable that we need to kind of look out for ourselves when disasters strike. So when All Powers reached out and sent over one of their R1500 solar generators, I felt like it would be a good opportunity to test one of these units out with an eye on preparedness. With this unit being one of the cheapest units on the market, with a solar panel coming in with my discount code less than $700, I felt that this might be an opportunity to test out one of these units in a very common setting. That is, the millions and millions of people who live in apartments or condos. And they might not be able to run a big, gigantic gas generator to keep them satiated during a blackout or a disaster. Now, don't get me wrong, there are hundreds of other review videos on units like this from every other company out there, but they all leave one glaring question open. What can these things do? And I've decided to kind of create an apartment here down in my office to kind of mimic what it would be like. So I'm going to throw the breakers, hook everything up to the All Power, and see how long we can actually live for in one of these medium-sized units. There are units that are smaller, and there are units that are larger. And as the scale goes up and down, so does the price. So with a competitively priced unit, would this be something that's effective that you can keep charged up, stick in a closet when the power goes out, not have to live like a caveman when the power goes out? Kind of interested to see what we can do with this thing. So enough jibber jabber, let's do it. This was stupid. I should have set the camera up before I turned the power out. So let's get this unit over here in more of a centralized location, mimicking, say, pulling it out of a closet, like I said. And let's get some light going. This is just a regular old floor lamp. You can get it at Goodwill for probably $5. And let's see. Okay, so before we plug it in, it says we have 14 days remaining. Oh, all right. All right, got some light. All right, so we're already out of the Stone Age. Got 2 lights going. It's dark, but not too dark. Specifically, if we set up at the computer area. Right now, the All Power with the lights on is those 2 LED light bulbs aren't even pulling enough wattage to really register. It says we can run those for 2 weeks. Cool, so we got light. The next thing we got to do, I think, is let's get the internet going. Let's see if we could, I don't know, work from home or keep ourselves occupied by streaming or doing whatever. So let's get the internet hooked up, powering the UPS, which has the router on it. It's pulling 40 watts, which is saying I could run it continuously for 1 day. Now this is a good time to talk about something that you have to think about with these. It's not going to be like a regular generator, and even still a regular generator, you don't run 24 hours a day unless you have a medical device that absolutely needs it, something like that. You have to think judiciously about your power source. If it's a gas generator, you don't want to run it because you only have so much fuel stored up. So in the first 24 or 48 hours of a disaster, you might not have access to fuel or anything. So you kind of have to be judicious about how you run it. If it's cold, run it enough to turn the heat on, or if it's hot, run it long enough to cool the house down. Also, the same thing with like the fridge and the freezers that you might have. You only run the generators for X amount of time. So as it stands right now, we just woke up, we're in a power outage, storm, whatever. So far we have lights, and we have internet. I mean, honestly, what else do you need? But that would make for a kind of crappy video. So let's plug a laptop in and get some entertainment going, maybe some tunes, because what else are you gonna do in a blackout? Might as well clean a little bit, I guess, right? All right, so we got the laptop set up with some copyright-free music because you don't want to get sued during the middle of a blackout making a YouTube video. Right now we are pulling 60 watts, giving us about 16 hours, which doesn't seem like a lot because I'm shooting for 24 hours here. Again, you would just start turning stuff on and off. And I think the next thing that you would have to do is, I think it would be a really good time for you to get your fridge going. We're going to substitute this freezer for a fridge. Let's get that plugged in. All right, 30 minutes into the test of our blackout, and I'm getting hungry already. So Let's go ahead, make some coffee, and make something with the microwave. Coffee's a big one though. Lights flickered. The all power just started making noise. Oh, she's really making noise now. Now coffee pots and the act of making coffee is extremely energy dependent. So right now we're pulling about 927 watts and it's knocked the unit down to 1 hour of remaining usage. Now, I know I brought this up in the EcoFlow video and a lot of people called me out on it, and they are right. You make your coffee and then you turn it off. So while this is energy intensive right now, it's not for any really sustainable amount of time. Make the coffee, turn it off. Again, being judicious with your power usage will be extremely helpful in extending the life that you're going to get out of any of these battery units. And so the hot plate just kicked on, or just kicked off. So we're back down to 16 hours. So we can go ahead and unplug this coffee pot and pour ourselves a nice hot cup of joe, made from the power of the sun. Awesome. Not so bad. This blackout thing's pretty legit. You know, outside of all the death and destruction and all that that's gone on in the world that has caused the blackout, so far we're making it. How about some food? Should we do some food now? Sure. Let's get some food going. So we're pretending like this freezer is our fridge. Let's get some English muffin, turkey sausage and egg whites. God, this disaster just went from not so bad to awful. My God, turkey sausage. What are you gonna do? It's not too bad. We got coffee and breakfast. We haven't had our hand out to anybody yet, so we're doing good. Paper plates, because you don't want to be wasting water doing dishes. All right, let's see if the all power can do the microwave. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing 1,234 watts, which would mean the all power would be out of batteries in 40 minutes. But we know we only have like 1 minute left. Knowing what I know now, I should have cooked both sandwiches at one time, but live and learn from my mistakes. Otherwise, has no problem pushing it. And we're definitely not plugged into the wall here. All right, solar powered breakfast. Excellent. Well, since I'm over here, might as well, I don't know, turn one of these lights on. I don't think they're pulling enough wattage to make a huge difference. We're down to 30 watts. 23 hours. All right. Yeah, we're in the dark like crazy people, but we're surviving. Nice breakfast sandwich, a cup of coffee. That's pretty legit. That turkey sandwich is kind of awful. Still a little cold in the middle. Probably could have done 2 minutes, but we haven't asked anybody for help yet. We're able to reach out to the rest of the world if there was cellular service. We're doing pretty good. Oh, it's still frozen. Let's do another 30 seconds. All right, back in the game. Another 30 seconds. Oh yeah. We already killed over an hour of our little experiment here. I think I'll just go and keep folding clothes. Keeping my brain occupied and my body moving. Because at this point, the power's out for X number of reasons. You might not want to leave the safety of your four walls. Wind, rain, snow, fire, Godzilla, who knows? So I'm gonna maximize my time. I keep looking up Force of Habit to the clock. So we're a couple hours in. Man, I keep looking at the clock. It's Force of Habit. We're a couple hours in, like 4 hours in. Down here, I've just been puttering, keeping myself occupied. The internet's still on. The freezer, I'm about to unplug it again as an analog for a fridge. That's been on for the last hour, so I'm going to unplug it for a couple hours. Go ahead and unplug it. Where are we at? 59% with about 14 hours to go. So that's with the light on, charging a laptop, and running the router. Again, we're pretending like we're in a survival situation. It's a good idea to keep just a bottle of water around. Otherwise, it's not bad creature comforts. The all power is doing well so far. It's powered what I need to. Haven't had a need to make lunch or anything yet. I did a little paperwork on the computer. I don't think I'd be able to power the editing computer for very long. That's like a super computer. So laptop work is good enough. A little bit of YouTube. Alrighty, lunchtime. Let's go ahead and get the We got 55%, 17 hours. Let's go ahead and... I got some leftovers here. You could substitute these leftovers for, I don't know, a frozen pizza or something. But we get the microwave going. It's about 1200 watts going into the microwave, giving us about 26 minutes. So you couldn't use the microwave to like cook a roast or anything. But we're only using it a minute or two at a time. We're in survival mode and we're doing all right. 53%. So far, so good, you know, puttering, working up an appetite here. I don't know, after a couple hours, the one light starts becoming depressing. So hopefully you're in an apartment or a condo that has some windows. If you're in a basement apartment, or as we like to call them in the Washington, D.C. area, an English apartment, you got to step outside. One light bulb, it feels like torture. Hot food, YouTube, bottled water, who's better than you? All right, you don't have to watch me eat. All right, still going. It is 3:30 p.m. So that means the test started 7:35, like 8 hours. I'm not hungry. I'm not bored. I've been listening to podcasts, doing laundry, lights on, Wi-Fi still running, 2 meals under my belt. I mean, this 8 hours, a couple more hours, and then it should be bedtime. Let's go check on the All Power, see how it's doing. You've been gone. I charged my watch and charged my phone fully. And right now, we're 39%. And we have roughly 12 hours. It's bounced between 12 and 11 hours left. I don't know. I mean, at this point... Oh, it's 3:30. That means I got to plug the freezer back in and run it for another hour or so. But I mean, at this point, let's just say you do like another 4 hours, you're up for 12 hours or so. It's holding up pretty well. You could definitely get by in a blackout and survive and really not, I don't want to say not be out, but so far so good. And this just goes to show you, you know, all those videos, there's dozens, if not hundreds of videos comparing these things with gigawatts and outputs and plugins, and can it power my 2-post garage lift, or can it power a welder? Like, most people don't have that kind of stuff. And if it's an emergency, you're not running that sort of stuff. But this is a real brass tacks example, test, real world test. So far, so good. I mean, even if you threw a couple other things in there, if you had to, like, say, have this room off and run a space heater, if you did it on a controlled basis, it would probably do it. You'd greatly reduce the amount of energy that you had in the battery, but you could probably do it. I'm pretty impressed so far. I also feel like I'm in prison, but I'm pretty impressed so far. Although sitting in the room for 8 hours, I was about to say, when was the last time you sat in a room for 8 hours? But most of us do that at work or school, so that was dumb. I caught myself. All right, let's get the fridge plugged in, set a timer for an hour, and let that run for a little while. Let's have the lights on here in the laundry room for demonstrative purposes. While I was doing laundry, I said, hey, let's see if this All Powers can power the washing machine. And sure enough, it's going. Disregard the dryer. You'll never be able to get the dryer to run. My dryer is 240 volts. This unit doesn't have the capability of even doing 240 volts. Plus, with the resistive heating in there, it would just suck up all the energy that's stored in that battery to try to run the dryer. However, the washing machine working perfectly fine. It's actually pretty efficient. As it spins around, 150 watts. I've only dropped 1% so far. So we should be able to bang out a load of laundry. God forbid there's an emergency. Or even if it's not an emergency and it's just like a regular blackout, you want to stay on task and people are making dirty clothes. I don't know. It's a demonstration. But I'm actually really surprised how efficient this is. So if you have like an apartment with an ensuite washer, you could definitely run laundry with it. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't have run, but you don't know until you try. So it's definitely working, it's definitely running. I think, however, this is probably going to be the end of like the what can it do test. I think at this point, even though I changed shirts, we had soccer practice, I stopped the test and then I started it back up again. We're right at like 12 or 13 hours. So I think I'm going to stop the what can it do test. I think I've pretty much shown, you know, microwave. I don't think I showed the toaster, but we use toast and coffee, refrigerator, keeping things cold, making cold things hot. It's actually pretty impressive what this thing can do at its price point. Let's switch over to the big camera and the good microphone, and let's keep going into it. Oh, and a note about the laundry test here. If you have no power, obviously you won't have hot water. If you have an electric hot water heater, this unit definitely will not power an electric hot water heater. However, in my house, in my laundry room, we only use cold, so that's not an issue here. Also, if you are on well, which we are, this unit would not be able to power your well pump. Take my laundry test with a grain of salt. If you're on city water and you use cold water, it's not an issue. But if you needed a hot water heater or a well pump, this unit could not do either one of those. So keep that in mind. But again, if you're in an apartment, you probably don't have well water and your hot water comes from somewhere else, you just make adjustments and wash with cold. But just, I want to be above board here, but it's still going. It's actually almost done. So I turn the breakers back on, turn the lights back on down here. So I'm out of my darkened prison, and I could say with relatively good confidence that if I had nothing else to provide me power during a blackout, the All Powers R1500 could easily power the minimum of life-sustaining things. We had light, had a little bit of cooling with a fan. Heating would be difficult because most heating runs on resistive heaters, space heaters, that sort of thing. They would suck up a lot of energy regardless of the battery. You would need something really big to run a resistive heater. But we were able to make coffee, have 3 meals. Mind you, they were all microwave, but we're doing what we got to do to survive. And I was even able to fire off a load of laundry with a little bit of battery left over. I'm sure by the time that laundry gets done, the battery's going to be right about 10% and will need to be recharged. But again, according to my notes, we started this test at about 7:30. So I'm going to do the math because like I said, I had a soccer practice gap in there. But it effectively provided electric for basic living things for just about 10 hours of consistent use, plus a load of laundry. You're at a good 12 hours. Now, I know that there's been a discussion in other videos. I don't have one. However, there is one for sale. If you were to double up and get the extra battery that is available for purchase, which again is significantly cheaper than any other brands, you could effectively double the watt hours, double the length of what you could be powering for still significantly cheaper than other companies' batteries out there. For example, in my case, I have the EcoFlow Delta Max 2, Delta 2 Max, whatever. Their branding sucks. That's 2,068 watt hours, something like that. You could be right in that same range for roughly half the price, which is pretty impressive. Now, mind you, because it's now nighttime, I can't test the solar input on it. I'm going to wait for a sunny day. In your time, it should be the next segment. All right, so it's the next morning. Stop starting every sentence with all right, so it's the next morning. We're the All Power where we left it, dropped another 5%. So we're down at like 10% or so, but the sun is out. So I'm going to take it outside and test out the solar panel that they sent with it. That's the 200 watt model, so we're looking maybe 170 watts out of it. You know, you're never really going to fully get that, what they're rated for, because sun and angles and whatnot. As an analog, you know, I'm a strapping young lad, and being that this unit is about 30 pounds or so, it's significantly lighter than a gas power generator, and even the EcoFlow that I already own, so I have conscripted my lovely assistant here as an analog so that you guys can see about moving this around. You know, we've predicated the entire video on the fact that it's just something that you can stick in a closet, grab it out, but I haven't really talked about the weight. And you could talk about numbers, but people don't really recognize numbers. So Ashley's gonna grab it, take it upstairs, and then she's gonna give her opinion on, you know, whether this is something that's suitable for a single person to move around under, you know, regular circumstances. So.
Oh my God, it's so heavy. No, you want me to make a joke?
No, I mean, is it all right? Could you carry it?
Yeah, it's all right.
If you were on like a ground floor apartment or a basement apartment, could you carry it up the stairs?
Yeah.
All right. It sucks one-handed. You couldn't do it one-handed. The handles aren't good enough.
No, it's a little awkward, but also I have little legs.
Yeah.
I'm very little.
Yes.
This is awkward to hold it though.
It's awkward to hold it?
Yeah, I don't know how to hold it.
You wouldn't tend to use it?
Like this.
You wouldn't use the handles? This is feedback.
I
I'm not
wouldn't.
selling it. I don't really care.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No, I've already read.
It made your hands red?
Yeah, already.
This is
Stand here.
This is
You
why I
take
brought
so-
you here. This is
It takes
good.
so long filming. I'm trying to get rid of this.
Well, that's the hell of a YouTuber's life.
Let's go.
All right, go ahead.
You know what I would do?
What's that?
Get you to carry it.
Well, of course. But let's say you were a single lady and you bought one of these and you're like, oh, or an old person. So let's face it, you're a lady and you're also really old. So could an old lady carry this?
No, it might be a little heavy.
A little heavy for old lady?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so it's less than a 6-year-old, right? It's less than a 6-year-old?
My 6-year-old, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably as heavy as a cat litter box.
The cat litter box? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not something you want to move around every day, but in an emergency situation, could you get it out of the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
You wouldn't hurt. I mean, you've done the EcoFlow. That's really
The
heavy.
EcoFlow's really heavy.
Yeah. So this is half the electric of the EcoFlow. However, it is easier to move around.
Yeah.
So I've had the EcoFlow in the house, and it's one of those things where like only I can move it. So
Yeah, I don't touch that.
yeah. Okay. I'm gonna set up the solar panel. We got good sunlight right now. One thing about the EcoFlows, this isn't an EcoFlow video.
Nope.
But okay. But one thing about the EcoFlow is that the solar panel setup that comes with it, when you buy the combo, it is janky. It's a really janky setup. So we're gonna test out the all-power solar panel that they sent over. It's not an apples to apples comparison. The one that I have for the EcoFlow is a 400 watter. This is a 200 watter, so it's smaller. But like I said, the EcoFlows is really janky. So we'll get this one set up and see how easy it is to set up. Mind you, without reading instructions. So these are legs.
Oh, okay.
That's already better than the EcoFlow setup. They sent over cables and stuff, or there's cables that come in the thing. I probably should have looked at this stuff before I brought it out. However, most people don't read instructions, and in an emergency, you don't have your wits about you. So let's see how we can get this into this. So we got an Anderson connector coming in. Now if you look, it's pretty easy. Boy part, girl part. You can't wire them backwards. So we're not dead on. Here, you want to grab this side and we'll turn it towards the sun. The trick with these is that you want to make the shadow the smallest as possible. That's going to be pretty good. And what do we got? 141 watts. So we got 130 or so watts going in. A little cloud going over. Add a 200 watt panel isn't the best. I could probably make another little turn, because at this rate, if it's 130 watts and you need to go 1,000, 9 hours.
We're not getting 9 hours of sunlight.
And we're not gonna get 9 hours of sunlight. Well, don't walk in front of it. You're taking away all the gigawatts.
Oh, well, it's just
Another
video
test?
proving that it works.
Yeah, so I got it up to 145. A little bit of cloud cover moved away. I stupidly looked at the sun and now I can't see anything. We'll let it do its thing and see how it does. That setup was pretty straightforward though, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy. Yeah. Earlier in the video, I made coffee and turkey sandwiches. Which, who bought turkey sausage, by the way?
If I did, it was definitely a mistake. Because I would not do that on purpose.
But you're powering it via the sun.
Was it flavored?
It was not good. I mean, it was turkey, sausage, and egg whites on an English muffin.
Oh, I bought those.
Oh.
I bought, okay, I thought you meant like a pack of
No.
sausage that you were cooking, because I would never buy turkey sausage like that. But I did buy the English muffin, because
Yeah.
you can heat it up in the microwave.
And I did, and it worked out. And my lifeboat of an apartment downstairs, I was able to eat breakfast and lunch. I had leftovers for lunch and
Those
for
turkey
dinner.
sandwiches are not bad.
They weren't good. They were not good.
Yeah, what? They weren't for you anyway.
Yeah.
They weren't for you.
Listen, in an emergency, you got to do. It's martial law. You got to do what you got to do to survive. All right, so let's go to the soccer game. We'll leave this, and we'll check it when we get back. You know, if this was an emergency, we'd go back down to our hole and do more stuff to keep ourselves occupied. But we have real life, so we'll see in a little bit. Where we at? 132 watts. All right. At this
So you're
rate,
just letting it go? What the hell?
132 watts. That's like 10 hours. Yeah, we'll come back and it'll be at like 35%. Goodbye. No, not goodbye. All right, we'll see you later. So obviously the sun has gone down. It's now 4:30. Long soccer day. Should have put it in eco mode. We're still getting 4 watts. All right. So I said 35%. It's up to 44%. That's in quite a few hours. So I don't think my estimate earlier of roughly 10 hours to fill this thing up was that far off. However, going with our scenario here where, it's an emergency, 44% will give you another 4 or 5 hours of usage. So if you were home, if this was an emergency and you could babysit it and, rotate it as it went away, obviously we had to run, you could probably get it up to 50 or 60%. I mean, 44 without babysitting it isn't the worst thing in the world. I do want to try one more thing. Let's try solar pass-through and see if that works, and then get this video wrapped up. Yeah, I was able to get the solar pass-through to work, but by the time I came up and grabbed the camera and went back down, I lost my sunlight. You're gonna have to take my word for it. What am I gonna start lying to you now? The penultimate point that I'd like to make as we wrap this video up is a word about ethics. I see a lot of people in comments jump all over creators when they say, I wasn't compensated for this review, and then the commenters say, oh, well, they gave you a free battery. Yes, in my case, they did send over a free battery and an affiliate link so that I will make a very, very small commission if you decide to purchase one of these units through my affiliate link. That said, I'm still not comfortable taking free things. If you watched my wood moisture meter video, I spent way more money testing a $10 thing that they sent over for free, and I still haven't made my money back from that video. In this case, between the little tchotchkes that I bought to test out and duplicate an apartment down here, and the fact that, being that it's fresh in my mind, this unit, I have all the shipping boxes and all the foam and stuff, is going to be donated to some family down in Western North Carolina who needs it. I don't need it. They do. They should have it. So before anyone questions my ethics, I'm being forthcoming and telling you, yes, I will earn a commission on your affiliate links if you decide to purchase. However, it would take about 1,000 people buying one of these units to make up the cost of when I donate this, as opposed, for the price of the unit. So with that information, you could solve your own ethical dilemma on whether or not you chose to purchase this through the affiliate link or not. I don't care either way if you do, but I did want to be forthcoming and let you know that they did send this over for free, but they didn't pay me to make the video. Do with that information as you'd like. That said, in my little apartment lifeboat scenario here, would I feel comfortable with this unit being my backup plan? Yes, with an asterisk. I think that as it sits right now, it's pretty good. And if you use the discount code Woodridge Creek, all one word, you can get what I demonstrated today for about $629 with free shipping. That's a pretty good deal. I believe it is the cheapest unit on the market. And I know money is tight for folks, but for a bit of insurance, it's not the end of the world. It's certainly not a $2,000 EcoFlow or a $6,000 Bluetti setup, whatever. For a little bit of cheap insurance, it's not a bad deal. I think the asterisk would be, I think you should think about some upgrades. With my discount code, again, you can get the R1500 with an extra battery, essentially doubling its capacity, for $845.10 with free shipping. That is a really, really, really good deal. In that case, you'd have at least a day or two of self-sufficient power powering your needs in a disaster situation. Even if you decided to go down and buy and purchase what we demonstrated today, I would think upgrading the solar panels would probably be in your best interest. From my calculations, you can get in right around $750 with an upgraded solar panel and just this battery unit alone. It might be a better idea if you're comfortable coming out of the house in the disaster and setting it up. It would get you back into a fight a little bit quicker than the 200 watter that they sent over. Either one works. That one would just work a little bit quicker. If you're interested in any of the technical testing that I did, we busted out the oscilloscope and the DC testing and all that kind of stuff. There'll be a follow-up video immediately after the release of this one. It's going to take me a little bit to edit it, but in my upload time, it's going to be lickety split. I'll go over all the technical details. I'll do some endurance testing on it. I tested whether it was sine wave or not, UPS protection, pass-through charging, AC efficiency, battery drain if the AC and DC sections are turned on, testing of the USB-A and C, wireless charging, and mobile app availability. So if you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button and you'll see when it pops up. All that aside, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.